glad you're watching. With 30 minutes of the broadcast begins now. With overstretched medical facilities and lack of funds to fight the pandemic, Kakamega Governor Dr. Wycliffe Oparanya has appealed to the national government to support the 13 COVID-19 hotspot counties through funds to combat the virus. Harriet Chime files a report.
Now, Lake Region Economic Bloc, the positivity rate is quite above the national average. I would request the national government to support all the 13 counties.
It is a call for appeal as healthcare workers and medical facilities continue to be overburdened with the rise of cases in the Lake region. In the last 24 hours, the country has recorded 714 cases, and the counties with the highest cases include Kakamega with 79 cases, Kisii 78, Migori 76, Nairobi 74, Kisumu 72, Busia 69 and Siaya 60 cases. 285 patients have recovered and 10 patients have succumbed to the virus, all of them being late deaths reported in the month of April, May and June. Meanwhile, in Kisumu County, the ropes of restrictions have been tightened with businesses closed and roadblocks mounted. As at now, the country has vaccinated 1,181,588 people so far, and out of those, only 186,966 have received the second dose. In the neighboring country, Uganda is under a total lockdown. The situation is dire as residents share that the lockdown came raining with no warning, and some are finding it hard to get at least one meal to sustain their lives. As of 17th June 2021, the latest records provided, the country recorded 1,397 new cases. Reporting for Switch TV, my name is Harriet Chime.
Thank you, Harriet Chime. Renowned businessman Dr. Christopher John Kirubi was earlier today buried at his Bender farm in Muranga County. This was after a funeral service attended by family members and close friends. Kirubi died on Monday, June 14, 2021 at his home after a long battle with cancer. Caroline Simmer tells us more.
Though not present at the late Chris Kirubi's burial ceremony, President Uhuru Kenyatta eulogized the business mogul, terming him as the most celebrated mentor who had a passion when it came to helping people. With tears rolling down her eyes, Fiona Kirubi, the last kin of Dr. Kirubi, said her father was the first man who taught her the importance of reaching for the stars.
My dad taught me the meaning of hard work and independence and to always aim for the stars. He taught me that with great blessings come great responsibilities.
Marianne Kirubi, Kirubi's first daughter, reminisced of the times her father sent her away from home when she was 12, arguing he was a rare kind of parent as he was thinking ahead.
We talked about how he was a salesman. You all know how he's a salesman, right? I was shown brochures. Children on horses. Muzungus, children on horses. Huh? Let me tell you, that guy had this 12-year-old girl sold. I couldn't run faster onto that plane to go to Switzerland. He was thinking ahead. He had a vision for me.
Kenyans took it to social media to commemorate his hashtag #AskKirubi, which he used to share his 2 cents in empowering the youth on matters business. Dr. Kirubi died at 80 on Monday, June 14, 2021, at his home after a long battle with cancer. Rest in peace, Dr. Chairman DJCK Christopher John Kirubi. Caroline Tuma, Switch TV.
Rest in peace, Dr. John Christopher Kirubi. Thank you, Caroline Simmer, for that story. Moving on, the Office of the Registrar of Political Parties has defended itself after Kenyans took to social media to protest following revelations they had been registered as members of political parties without their knowledge. Our reporter Majibuki Tsao with his story.
Registration as party members without their consent. Some termed the revelations a breach of their right to privacy and demanded answers on how they ended up being members of some political parties from the Registrar's office. However, the Office of the Registrar of Political Parties has come out defending itself, saying the exercise is a pilot of the online service. They confirmed their membership status through an online portal on eCitizen, a one-stop shop for government services shared out by the Office of the Registrar. The Registrar of Political Parties, Ruto, has added that her office is planning to enhance other services, including the management of independent candidates, party membership recruitment and registration.
Thank you, Majibu Kitsao. Deputy President William Ruto has said that a change of the constitution is not Kenya's priority, stating that leaders should stop prioritizing issues for personal gain and instead address economic challenges facing the people. Speaking at Perot Secondary School in Sigor constituency, West Pokot County, Dr. Ruto said there was need to change the conversation from that of sharing positions of power to economic empowerment.
Wapi mikono ya UDA? Ati wanataka kutudanganya, shida ni ukabila, tubadilishe katiba ndio wapate vyeo. Sisi tunawaambia shida si ukabila, shida ni uchumi. Waambia wacheni mambo ya katiba. Katiba hakuna shida. Tubadilishe sera. Kabla ya nyinyi kubadilisha katiba mgawane mamlaka, tubadilishe sera, hawa wananchi wapate kazi na biashara, waweke pesa kwa mfuko. Hiyo ndio ya muhimu.
Meanwhile, several tuk-tuk motorists have sustained injuries after a 2-hour-long battle over a terminus along Ruto bypass. The motorists blocked the road, demanding and claiming ownership of the terminus. Daniel Karaoke reports.
It was a battle of stage ownership and control. One group set up fire along the road, burning tires and chanting slogans of ownership, calling the other group intruders of their space.
Kuna watu wake wakazi wamenunua tuktuk, sasa wameandamana, wamechukua barua, wameleta hizo tuktuk hapa, wamekuja kutuangaisha. And that is why tunasema no peace, no work. No peace.
The groups engaged each other for a better part of the day, seriously injuring 2 motorists. The fight was later stopped by police officers, though each group is still claiming ownership of the stage. Motorists say that they had visited Ruto sub-county offices to resolve the matter, but the ownership wrangles still persists.
Kutokana na watu wa tuktuk na Ruto sub-county. Hapa ni bypass Kihunguro. Kuna vurugu fulani ilitokea katikati ya sako mbili za tuktuk.
Tunaangalia vile watu kuvidikana vile wanakuja hata watu wengine wa huko kwa Kanjo wanakona na tuktuk ziko kwa hiyo ruti yao. Waliweka tuktuk huko ili wakuje watuzigize na hizo tuktuk hapo. Lakini sisi kubali hata kidogo ati wakuja hapa watunyanyase kwa sababu ati watu wa government ati kuna na tuktuk walikuja nazo hapa.
The conflict birthed traffic that affected motorists using the bypass road, as motorists now want the Kiambu County Government Office to intervene and resolve the matter. Daniel Karaoke for Switch TV News.
Thank you, Daniel Karaoke. Gaming has been characterized as an addiction, with many shying away from engaging in gaming due to societal perceptions on how it shapes our psychological behavior. However, young people in Kenya use it as a source of entertainment and even as a career to earn income and stay away from crime. Here is Rachel Duarte with a full report.
The gaming industry has leveled up during this pandemic period, igniting a period of exceptional growth in the sector. To understand where this sector goes next, it's important to consider why it has become such a valuable lifeline for people over last year, with much of the world forced to stay in closed doors. Due to the unprecedented restrictions, people are always looking for ways to entertain themselves and maintain their social connection.
Okay, for me, making it a career means I will have to engage with the game at frequent intervals, because I need to perfect my craft at the end of the day. I need to put bread on my table. But at the same time, I have that part of my, I'd say, identity that reminds me that, at the end of the day, I'm still also a lawyer, and I still need to, I still need to make time for that part of my life, and I also need to make time for my family. So it's an issue of just balancing your time and, remembering that you have to do things in moderation.
Gaming has so often been painted with the wrong brush and stereotyped as being isolating and unsociable. However, the pandemic has shown this could not be further from the truth.
Games aren't made in a vacuum. Games tend to be a reflection of the real world. You understand? So for instance, you find like, okay, games like Call of Duty, GTA, they're just a reflection of the world that's out there. For example, Call of Duty, it's a war game, and it talks about some of these, some of these wars, like those in Iraq, those in Syria, just to mention a few. So if the real world didn't actually have violence, you'd actually find that no one would be making art that reflects the real world, if that argument kind of makes sense.
Despite the gains of this digital-oriented hobby, many argue that there is need for legislation to protect gamers online.
From a legislative standpoint, I don't, Kenya is very far behind because when you talk about gaming, the word gaming in Kenya, a lot of people still think of betting. So if before we even get to laws that protect people from harassment online and stuff, like people who try and start companies to develop games, organize tournaments, whatever, sometimes run into problems with the authorities because of that word gaming.
Gaming has been referred and depicted as one of the most addictive habits in history. However, there is need for legislation, and it can also be used for public good. Therefore, there is need for implementation of policies to protect the interaction of people online. Rachel Ndwati, Switch TV.
Thank you, Rachel Ndwati. With that story, we now take a short commercial break. Stay tuned. We'll be back with more. Welcome back, and thank you for keeping it Switch TV. It's now time to delve into the world of commerce. Economists have cited unfavorable environment, corruption, overtaxation and unfriendly government policies as the key reasons why foreign investors stop Kenya when setting up offices in Africa. Major international companies venturing in the African market have preferred setting up their offices away from Kenya, denying the country a huge deal of benefits. Our reporter Brian Mwenda spoke to Ali Kansache, an investor and economy commentator, and filed the following report.
Kenya has historically been the preferred destination for global businesses setting their headquarters in the African market. According to the Financial Times, the country attracts an average of 54 projects of foreign direct investment yearly. However, according to economy commentator and investor Ali Kansache, lack of an enabling environment is leading major businesses away from setting their regional offices in Kenya.
I think in East Africa, we remain the most attractive destination, but the person who is our biggest competitor is President Kagame, because he understands this very intuitively. He is consistently, Kigali is very safe. Kigali, the ease of opening a business can take you 24 hours to open it up. And I'll tell you why. People want policy-making certainty. They don't want changes made every other week. They want an open market. You need to have an open information space. You can't do what Nigeria did, which is suddenly switch off Twitter.
Kenya has the 6th largest GDP in Africa, behind Nigeria, Egypt, South Africa, Algeria, and Morocco. Further, it has the largest GDP in East Africa. However, the economy said top investors now prefer even other East African countries when setting up businesses.
Then you've got to look at providing people with the key services that they're going to need, making it relatively easy. You know, you can't have water shortages for weeks on end and everyone complaining, or power shortages. You need to have these things working. And then you need policy making certainty, and then you need to make it very easy. So digital, you can apply, your application will be dealt with in 24 hours. You know, you land here, you're up and running within 48 hours. Those are the sorts of things that will make it attractive for Kenya.
To attract more investors, the government needs to create a better enabling environment, fight corruption, ease doing businesses, and look for favorable government policies. Brian Mwenda, Switch TV.
Thank you, Brian Mwenda. Cybercrime in Kenya has been on a constant high, and the pandemic has made things even worse, with vast numbers of Kenyans isolated at home and on their devices 24/7 against a backdrop of escalating unemployment and rampant stress. The climate is ripe for tech abuse. Cybersecurity in Kenya is governed by various provisions of law, including Article 31 of the Constitution, the Kenya Information and Communication Act No. 2 of 1988, the Computer Misuse and Cybercrimes Act No. 5 of 2018, and the Data Protection Act No. 24 of 2019. Lizo Sali with more on this.
Statistical data from the Communications Authority of Kenya shows that mobile phone usage in the country currently stands at 61.4 million users. Out of this, cyber threats has been on the rise. Further data from the authority from the year 2019 to 2020, which ended in March this year, 110 million cyber threats were reported compared to 119 million threats that have been recorded in the past 3 months, meaning the country has recorded an increase in 9 million more threats in that short period. In the Kenyan context, the Cybercrimes Act 2018 creates law for offenses relating to computer systems to enable timely and effective detection, prohibition, prevention, response, investigation, and prosecution of computer and cybercrimes to facilitate international cooperation in dealing with computer and cybercrime matters and for connected purposes. During the period January to March 2020, the National Kenya CIRT-CC records of 283 requests for digital forensics facilitation from investigative agencies, which was a 45.1% increase from the previous period, October to December 2019. During this period, there was an increase in cases reported regarding online impersonation, online fraud, and child abuse cases compared to the previous quarter. However, there was a 67.1% decrease in online abuse cases as compared to the previous period, October to December 2019. ICT Cabinet Secretary Joe Musheru expressed fears of an increase in cybercrimes during the upcoming 2022 general elections. He urged the Communications Authority to heighten its cyber threats detection and monitoring capacity to mitigate the risk. Lisa Sally, Switch TV.
Thank you, Sally. Elsewhere, climate change has been the major cause of frequent extreme weather and wildfires in the southwestern part of the United States. Arizona experienced two massive fires early this month, with the Telegraph and Mesco fires burning down more than 160,000 acres of forest and grassland. Apart from these two large-scale wildfires, at least 10 small-scale wildfires were reported in the state last week. In the past week, Arizona, Nevada, and other places have experienced the highest level of hot weather in history, and about 43 million people are under high temperature warning. The daily maximum temperature in Phoenix, the capital of Arizona, may exceed 45 degrees Celsius for a week. Although wildfires, droughts, high temperatures are related to human activities, it is clear that the role of climate change is a factor that cannot be ignored following frequent extreme weather.
We are in the midst of a long drought, and over the last couple of years, a very deep drought. Many people are now referring to this as a millennial drought, a mega drought. And so everything out there is abnormally dry, and essentially everything is available. Exposing conditions are there. What will determine what happens is where ignition occurs, and if ignition occurs with high winds. At that point, ignition will blow away from firefighting capabilities, and we can have large fires. I think what we're seeing with climate change is that it is acting on and exaggerating all kinds of climatic conditions. And so it is making things worse. We're seeing more frequent fires, more severe fires. We're seeing them at a scale, not just in terms of area, largeness, but intensity plus area combining. I've got children, I've got grandchildren. What kind of world are they going to inhabit? It's going to be a very different one if the